They pass me by, I can see it in their eyes. Empty people filled with care, headed who knows where. Are they gone?
My name is Marjorie Miller. Most people call me Mardie. I was born in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And at the age of 8 years old, when in my home church, I received the Lord as my Savior. After the service, my Sunday school teacher, the deacons, and the pastor took me to the Bible study, the office, and questioned me, and they prayed with me. The next Sunday morning, they asked me to get up and give my testimony in front of the whole church. That was a surprise to me. At first, I was very much afraid of God. I knew Him to be a holy God, and I knew that there were things that I thought and things that I said and things that I did that He didn't approve of, and I was afraid. But I learned how to trust Him, and I learned that He was a loving, caring God, and He was a forgiving God, and I thank Him for that. It was my desire to be a medical missionary in China, but I was not able to follow a career in medicine, and that devastated me. I thought, the Lord has given up on me. It took several months before I could go on with the idea that God was not finished with me, that He still had work for me to do. I went on to Bible college and had spent 4 years in a Bible college program, and after that, the year I graduated was 1951. I contacted my pastor and talked to him, and he advised me to get a job because at that point my parents needed help. So I went to work in the bank. It was during that time that I met my husband and found out that he was very much interested in working with the Chinese people. He, in fact, was teaching a group of Chinese English in a church in Toronto. We were married in 1953, and then it was my husband's need to get his Bible school training. So after we were married, he went off to Bible college 120 miles away while I lived at home with my parents and gave birth to our first son. He spent 3 years in Bible college, and after that time we went to candidate school with the Overseas Missionary Fellowship, formerly the China Inland Mission. They were now working in many other countries in Southeast Asia. We spent time in candidate school and were accepted by the mission to work with Cantonese-speaking Chinese in Malaysia. We were there for 4.5 years. It was a very lonely time for me. My husband was very good at language, and he was able to preach and teach in Chinese. He also learned to speak Malay. But it was during this time that I gave birth to 2 daughters as well, in the 4.5 years that we were there. He held services in other villages and towns, and also we had Sunday morning service in our home and had several Chinese people from the village that attended, and we grew to love them. And the Lord gave me a lot of dear friends in that period of time. When we came home on furlough, we had different ministries. My husband led a choir in a large church in Michigan, and then he had a small country church also in Michigan. Then he went back to Bible school to get his degree. It was during this time that I became pregnant with our third daughter, and we reapplied to the mission and were not accepted. It was devastating to my husband, but I felt it to be God's will. We applied then to the Hawaiian Islands mission and came to Maui in January of 1969. We had never heard of Maui before, but we're anxious to come and serve the Lord here, and left Canada in January of 1969 and came here out of the freezing cold. We've been here ever since. My husband had different opportunities to speak in churches, and then he got his own business. He passed away in 1996, and I was able to work with doctors on this island, and it was a joy to me to be in medical work finally, and I enjoyed working for different doctors during that time.